Pope Leo XIV wants the unity of the Church. But it seems that some people don't want that unity at all. Every time he takes a step, something explodes. Ambiguous statements, controversial documents, revelations about the conclave. In this video, we analyze it all, from the beginning of his pontificate to the latest events. And perhaps between the lines, we can understand who is really rowing against him. In the turbulent heart of the Catholic Church stands out today a figure called to a mission that, more than arduous, appears almost heroic. Pope Leo XIV took upon himself the burden of re-establishing ecclesial unity, a task that facts demonstrate to be not only difficult, but at times almost desperate. According to a lucid and uncompromising analysis by Santiago Martin of Magnificat.tv, the pontiff has found himself, from the first day of his pontificate, having to face a church torn by deep divisions and tensions that, in certain circles, have now transformed into real ideological resentment. Cardinal Prevost, at the very moment he was elevated to the papal throne with the name of Leo XIV, inherited a fragmented and, in many respects, poisoned ecclesial situation. Yet, he himself has repeatedly declared that he feels the mission of reconciling these now distant members as his own, entrusted by Christ. However, and here we reach the most tragic point, not everyone inside and outside the sacristies wants this project to come to fruition. Indeed, there are well-organized forces, even at high levels, that are openly working against him, hindering the Pope's every step with well-crafted traps. Traps that Santiago Martin does not hesitate to define as real bombs, like mines scattered along the path, ready to explode under the feet of anyone who dares to travel the path of ecclesial communion. Why this obstinacy? Why so much opposition to such a noble and urgent ideal as the unity of the Church? The reasons Martin emphasizes are not always stated, but the suspicion is that certain circles prefer a church divided into 1,000 pieces, where each group can claim the most influential, richest, and largest part for itself. At stake is not only doctrine, but also power, and there are those who, in order to maintain their influence, are willing to see the Church crumble under the weight of discord. Among the most serious threats of recent weeks, Santiago Martin highlighted one with particular concern: the initiative of the German Bishops' Conference, which has sparked a theological and pastoral scandal in the midst of the papal transition. In a provocative gesture, to say the least, the German bishops published a liturgical document intended to bless irregular unions, when Pope Francis's body had not even been buried. A gesture that, besides being theologically questionable, also appears humanly inappropriate. The Cardinal of Cologne openly opposed it, declaring that the text would not be applied in his diocese because it was contrary to Catholic doctrine. But the response of the German bishops was clear. According to them, nothing in that document contradicts the magisterium. Indeed, they affirm that it had received explicit approval from Cardinal Fernandez, current prefect of the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith. And here, a disconcerting divide opens up. On one side, there's a cardinal denouncing the heresy of a liturgical document. On the other, there's the supreme authority on the doctrinal matters who, it seems, approved it. And no one denies it. No clarifying statement, no official correction. The result? Pope Leo XIV is already in the vortex of brutal pressure forced to choose between loyalists of the faith and innovators with a license to experiment. As if the German mine weren't enough, another bomb exploded this week, a media bomb, but no less dangerous for that. The magazine Roma Today published an article by one Gilda Red, a mysterious figure unfindable in search engines, but evidently well-connected, who claims to have spoken with a cardinal present at the last conclave. The claims it reports are nothing short of incendiary. According to the article, Cardinal Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, would have been Pope Francis's only candidate. To his left, the article places Cardinal Parolin, a symbol of the ultra-liberal wing. And while the conservative minority was portrayed as irrelevant, there are stories of a decisive move by Cardinal Hollerich, bluntly described as Bergoglio's creature, to impose Prebost's candidacy on the entire progressive camp. Not content with this, the article insinuates an even more daring plan. Pope Francis, aware that he had come close to the brink of schism, would have orchestrated the election of a more moderate successor, simply to gain time. A strategic pause, awaiting a subsequent pontificate that will lead the Church to extreme synodality, to the approval of all forms of sexual cohabitation, and even to the ordination of women. Santiago Martin personally consulted some of the cardinal electors, and while they did not violate the secrecy of the conclave, they firmly rejected this version of events, dismissing it as malicious fiction. The question, however, remains, why publish such a text? Even if it contained truth, which is strongly denied, who benefits? According to Martin, the objective is twofold and diabolical. On the one hand, to reassure progressives frightened by certain signals from Pope Leo. On the other, he's cutting ties with the conservative world that has so far trusted him. The subliminal message is poisonous. You're wrong to support him. He's just another piece of Bergoglio's plan. And this is where the true strategy of certain circles is revealed: to sow distrust, break down barriers, and prevent unity. Regardless of the article's veracity, its circulation has already done its damage. And that, says Martin, is its real purpose: to sabotage Pope Leo XIV's ability to heal the Church's wounds. Faced with these orchestrated tensions, Pope Leo XIV did not react with harshness or vengeance, but with a surprising calm, which Santiago Martin calls a quiet revolution. Despite the provocations, the new pontiff continues to move with a logic that goes against the culture of conflict. He seeks dialogue, he seeks encounter, he seeks unity. An emblematic gesture of this line was the private audience granted this week to Cardinal Maradiaga, a symbolic figure of the previous pontificate and often disliked by certain conservative circles. A few days earlier, the Pope himself had publicly praised Cardinal Burke on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of his priestly ordination. Two names, two seemingly irreconcilable worlds, yet both are addressed with respect and attention. It's clear that Leo XIV doesn't want to give up on anyone. He doesn't want to exclude. He wants to bring them closer. And it is precisely along these lines that an event fits in that, according to Martin, had a prophetic force. The meeting in Rome with hundreds of thousands of young people who had gathered for the Youth Jubilee. Not only St. Peter's Square, but also Via della Conciliazione were invaded by an enthusiastic wave of humanity who welcomed the Pope with an enthusiasm that, Martin emphasizes, had not been seen since the time of St. John Paul II. But it is in Leo's message to these young people that we find the heart of his pontificate. Do not look at me, look at Christ. Words that sound like a halt to modern papolatry, as widespread as it is harmful. Christ is the center. Christ is the foundation. Christ is the one who unites. And while the powerful try to pull the Pope one way or the other, he sends everyone back to square one. It is not Peter's successor who can save the Church, but the Lord who founded it. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.